Welcome back. I'm Turnbull, your champion of champions. This is Keep It 100, and you're now learning the 3 levels of listening. So before I go into the 3 levels, I want to talk to you about energy and attention. Okay, because in order to use the 3 levels of listening, you need to be aware of where your attention is. Okay, so what I want you to do is look at this pen and just watch it. All right, just watch the pen. Keep your eyes on the pen wherever it goes. All right. Now, while your eyes are on the pen, I want you to take your attention and put your attention down inside your body and pay attention to your stomach. But keep your eyes on the pen. Keep watching the pen, but pay attention to what's happening down in your stomach. Now, keep your eyes on the pen, but drop your attention now from your stomach down into your toes on the floor. So push your toes into the floor while you're watching the pen. Okay? All right, now, while you're watching the pen, I want you to listen with your ears in the environment for any sounds you're hearing right now. Keep watching the pen, keep pushing your toes into the floor, and now listen for any sounds in your environment. Okay? Okay. So what did this little exercise do? What I was demonstrating is your eyes are on the pen, but your attention's in your toe or on your hearing. Have you ever been watching something or walking into the room while someone else is watching something on TV and you try to get their attention but they don't hear you? Or someone's trying to get your attention and they're finally like, hey! And you go, what? Because your attention was on the TV. Or when you walked in the room, that person's attention was on the TV, so they didn't hear what was going on behind them. People think that attention has to do with the eyes, where you can see things. You can put your attention into your vision, but you can be seeing this with your eyes and have your attention down in your body or in your toe or in your hearing. So attention is something you can move even when your eyes are looking at something. Attention is not just at your eyes, it's in your ears. You can put your attention on what you're smelling. You can put your attention on what you're tasting. You can put your attention on what you're touching, what you're feeling. You can put your attention down inside your body. You can put your attention on your emotions. So attention is something you direct here and there. It's not just in your eyes, or your ears, or your mouth, or your nose, or your fingers, or your body. Attention can go wherever you direct it. Okay, so now, when you're in a conversation with someone, you can put your attention down inside yourself while you're listening to what they're saying. You can be listening to what they're saying and yet have your attention down inside yourself. You can go, oh, I'm hungry right now. Right? So you don't hear what they're saying because you're hearing yourself go, oh, I'm hungry. Or they say something to you and it reminds you of something else, and all of a sudden your mind starts thinking this other thing. So when someone is totally involved in themselves, when you start to share something with them, they'll interrupt and start talking about their own stuff. Like, oh, you don't matter, I'm just going to talk about myself. Or anything that you say, they're going to relate to their own story. Like you say, the other day we went for lunch and we were having hamburgers, and they go, oh, I love hamburgers with pickles and lettuce and all kinds of stuff on it, right? And you're like, hello, I haven't even finished my story yet. That was just the beginning. And they're like, oh, but and they're going off on their own stuff. And they never ask you any questions, and they're not, you could feel like they're not really interested in what you have to say because their mind is always on themselves. It's always inside themselves. They're always thinking about themselves. So anything you say, they're not even seeing you as having your own story and interest. They're just taking what you say and trying to grab that story and trying to put their own stuff in there based on whatever it is you say. So that's the level 1 of listening, where someone is just focused on themselves. Okay? So if you're in level 1, you're listening to someone, but you're just waiting to interrupt with your own stuff. Okay? Level 2 is your total focus and attention is on the other person. You're not thinking thoughts about, you're not going off in your own mind about other things. You're listening you're with them, you're listening to every word they say, you're over there having an experience that they're sharing with you, totally listening. That's why audiences, when a comedian is up on stage telling the jokes, the audience are really listening to everything they say so they can make sure they catch the joke every time. And that's why they all laugh at the same time, because they're really paying attention to what the person is saying. Okay? So this is where you're taking your attention and you put it on the other person and you're just right there with them. You're not thinking about your own things. You're not thinking about your trip to Hawaii next week. You're not imagining something else. You're not thinking about going to bed or whatever. You're just with that person, listening to what they have to say. All right. And then level 3, it includes the entire environment. Them, you, and what's going on around you. So if there's a sudden loud bang and you're listening to them, you're going to address that bang because maybe it interrupted something that they said. Maybe it caused an interruption. So you want to address interruptions. So you're paying attention to the whole environment. You're still with that person, but you're not completely blocked off from everything else that's around you. So level 3 is your attention is on everything that's happening. Okay? So when you're in level 3, you notice when your mind wanders. You notice when you have a sudden lapse of hearing what they said. And so you address it. You say, oh, I missed that last thing you said. Could you repeat that, please? I'm sorry, my mind thought of something else, but can you go back and repeat that? Because I want to make sure I hear everything that you say. And you want to address words missed. Like, what was that? What was that word you said? Like, no, I don't need you to explain the whole thing again. I just missed one word. Did you say that you were there? Or did you say that you weren't there? I wasn't sure which word you used, and I want to make sure I'm understanding everything you're saying. So when you notice these, you notice when you're in yourself, you notice when you're with the other, and you include the environment, and you notice when things are interrupting you, and you address it to make sure that you get everything the other person is saying, and you address your own mental lapses, and you address any words you didn't hear. That way you're going to totally understand what the other person is saying. You're going to ask any questions that you need to ask in order to understand, and you're going to have a really good experience and a really good connection with another person if you can be aware of these 3 levels of listening and where your particular energy and attention is at any given moment. So it's okay to think of yourself, but you want to, when the other person is talking, be over there with them. And then when it's your turn, you're in yourself talking and expecting them to be with you. So it's a two-way street. You don't just do this for someone else and then not expect them to do it for you. You want them to also listen to what you have to say and to understand your words so you can be heard, because the gift is in the listening. The gift is in the giving the attention to someone else's life. So if someone's always just talking all the time, always talking about themselves, always spewing, but never asking you any questions, never getting over there with your life and your experience and what's going on for you and what you're thinking and how you're feeling and that's kind of it's not a very satisfying relationship. So you want to be aware of if you're doing that for another person and if that other person is doing that for you. So I'm Tia Turnbull. This is the 3 levels of listening. I'm your champion of champions. Once you learn these things, then you become your own champion of champions. And if you like these lessons, then hit the like, hit the subscribe, and tap the bell if you'd like to be notified of more of these. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.